that being negatively geared, they actually can't keep up. And that they can't continue to grow, or they'll have hit their serviceability and they need a different answer to the question of growing their portfolio. And then they would have some equity left in their investments or their home, and often they would also have a small deposit to combine with it.
And talk us through, I think what you just said before, where they start with that educational. Talk us through, if someone's watching out there, the boot camp and how that sort of goes. Is that online? Is that face-to-face? Describe that sort of part of the business.
So we've just sort of started. We ran some evening boot camps for some clients coming in as the first time in commercial property, and they've been in evenings for about 2.5 hours. We go through some commercial property foundations, and we take them through a comparison between residential and commercial and how that journey is, like an investor's journey. And then we get our finance broker to talk about finance, because there's heaps of questions about how do you finance a commercial property, and just give them the foundation. Then we get them to book into a strategy call with us, and then moving forward, we can help them map out and personalize that strategy and build a profile around the type of property. But we actually, because of the demand of people wanting to actually learn more, as you said, about commercial property, about being really confident as an investor, we've actually about to launch our 2-day boot camp, where it's going to be in May, on the 22nd and 23rd of May, a weekend, where we're actually bringing our whole team in, so they get to speak to a financial planner, accountants, and as well as lawyers, to see how the whole flow goes. Because it's putting the pieces together. What entity to buy in, when do I sign the contract? If I want to buy in my super, because about I think 1 in 3 of our clients buy in their super as well.
Yeah.
So guiding through that process, and finally learning about, we've got property inspectors out there, property scouts out there in different states, and what they do. So and that whole journey. So they come out of that 2 days and they're really ready to launch. They're ready to sign contracts.
So from that 2 days, they should have a really good understanding to look at real commercial and start to decipher what sort of a good potential purchase and what's not. So instead of looking at 10 properties, they may be able to narrow that down to 3 or 4 just from online, and then be able to narrow that down to a good 1 or 2. Because there'd be nothing worse than you see 10 and you buy the worst one just because you don't know what to look at and you don't know if a rent's inflated or stuff like that.
Yeah. And they often come with a residential mindset that they need to switch over a little bit to a commercial mindset, that in residential things are done a little bit differently. And when they do commercial, they bring that same mindset in, and they are looking at things from a totally different perspective. And as they're getting them to switch that and say, no, this is how it works in commercial, these things stop mattering and other things start to become more important.
Yes. What were you going to say, Mark?
Are they normally, the properties you're recommending, you normally suggest vacant or tenanted?
So most of our clients will look for a tenanted property because it's their first property. By the time they get to their second property, some of them, the length of the tenancy or the lease itself matters a little less, because they've got some more confidence. And by the time they get to their third property, a lot of them will look for a partially vacant property, and some of them will go to a vacant property that they want to add value to.
Yeah, and that's because I generally see there's a better yield when you're buying a vacant property, but obviously a lot of people, if it's their first, they just don't have the confidence, and they definitely don't have they're just getting the confidence on the sales side, let alone the leasing side of things. So they sort of look at something empty and I wouldn't know where to start. So, but you see those seasoned commercial investors, they love vacant. Yes, they understand it could be empty for 3 months, 6 months, but they know they could end up with a 7% yield if they pick that right one.
Yeah, so a lot of the times they also have cash flow from the first couple of deals they've done. Yeah. So they now can support buying a vacant property or a partially vacant property, and they've got some cash flow to do it up and add value. So, and then they've got some free time, because we talked about not working as hard and getting passive income. So some people,
they're in Noosa on holidays doing the figures.
Yeah, they go, oh, look, we might just work 1 day less, and now they can work on their portfolio.
Yes. And just before we wrap up, what's your outlook for the next 6 to 24 months commercial property?
Well, I
New
think
South
the market is going to be
Yeah.
really, really hot in the next 6 to 12 months. So buyers need to be quick if they want to get in. They need to actually be market ready beforehand. So rather than getting there and go, oh my God, I got to find the entity, I got to go and find my loans. They got to be market ready, because the
Yep.
next 6 to 12 months we're going to see the yield compression. Not only, I think Sydney will come back a little bit more, so we'll get a bit more yield compression here. We're going to see a lot of yield compression in regional areas, because a lot of people are moving in regional, and we do a lot of deals in regional. And we're going to see areas like also Melbourne that's going to come back, so people get a bit more confidence, and also we'll get a lot more Melbourne investors as well into the Sydney market, in Sydney Metro as well as regional, as they're looking for diversification out of their portfolio.
Because where's your...
And so, Helen,
Yep, go Mark.
sorry, when you say yield compression for people that are watching, so people will get rent back on a purchase of a property. So say they're buying something for, let's just use $1 million because it's round. They'll generally get like they used to get like a 7% return. So when they're buying and now that property is returning 4% on what they're purchasing it for, that's called yield compression, is it? So it's starting to go in that direction.
So traditionally, if they were going to regional, an area, say like a Townsville or Rockhampton, it would be a 9% yielding property. So they're getting a $90,000 on $1 million. On a normal day, they'll clear about $50,000 in passive income on that one deal. But now we're seeing Townsville go to about a 7.5% to an 8%, a 7.5% to an 8%. So essentially, they're still clearing the same because the interest rate is lower than what they bought in, say 12 months or 18 months ago, but so they're clearing the same, but the returns on that property is a little bit less. If they're in Sydney, obviously, instead of being at 7s, we'll go to 5s. We're already at 5s a lot of times, and the bigger brand name tenants probably go to a 3 or a 4. So so on $1 million, that's a $30,000 to $50,000 in net rent coming through. But if you're getting an interest rate at 2%, you're still getting some positive cash flow. And ultimately, how much cash flow depends on how much risk you're willing to take.
Good point there. Cash flow v risk. They run pretty in sync. But it's been lovely to have you on. Anything else you want to end off here, Helen? I'll put your website in here, so if anyone wants to get a hold of you, your details are there. They can contact you if they know nothing about commercial and want to learn. You can basically hold them through that whole process to settlement, and then even their second and third, and have that community, which I think is very powerful.
Yeah, if you are looking for additional information.
And Helen, it's Michael's birthday today.
Michael.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can go on holidays after 5 p.m.
Exactly.
Yeah, but not before. Make another sale.
Exactly. Very well said.
If you are looking for additional information on commercial property, I do have a YouTube channel, so look for Commercial Property Roadshow with Helen Tarrant. It actually has lots of me doing inspections. It's got me doing information about commercial property, different areas of commercial property. So, and that's it's called Commercial Property Roadshow with Helen Tarrant. So beautiful. That's probably it's on YouTube. So or just Google Helen Tarrant on YouTube and you'll find me. And then I've also got a podcast. So there's plenty of information out there. Or just simply Google Helen Tarrant and it'll come up with lots and lots of things. But the main thing is get some education, get yourself market ready, and then be ready to launch. Yeah,
and embrace not knowing about commercial and learn. Don't just go, it's too hard basket, because as you said, there are huge opportunities in commercial property. You've just got to do some research to find someone who can help you through the process. And being in the industry, I don't really know of anyone doing what you're doing. Yes, we know buyers agents, but not the community side of things that you can sort of go, is this really a good purchase, when you're not talking to the agent who wants to sell it, or just the sole buyer's agent who wants you to buy it as well. You can have that sort of person to speak to, which I think is very powerful.
Where are you in Sydney, Helen? Are you Sydney based? We've got a team in Melbourne and also a team in Brisbane as well. Okay, great. Awesome.
Thank you very much for coming on this morning, Helen. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Fantastic.
Thanks for
Thank
coming
you,
on. Happy birthday, Burge.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.